Good evening, MacArthur parents and students, if you're out there. I'm Ray Gonzalez, principal at MacArthur. Take a quick minute to introduce our team tonight. I am joined by, one second, Miss Daniels, assistant principal,
Hey,
Mr.
everybody.
Arana, our face liaison, Mr. Diaz, one of our school counselors, and Mr. Olivas, our assistant principal that oversees M through Z last name. So thank you for joining us tonight. We have a lot of information. Uh, you're joining us on YouTube Live, and so if you have questions along the way, you can type them into the chat. We will try our best to answer them as we go, but at the end of this, we will have a Q&A portion. So if you can opt to write your questions down and then save them for the end. We will try to keep up with the questions in the chat, but sometimes they do become a little overwhelming. So be patient with us. We won't take offense if you type your question in 2 or 3 times because it might get pushed off the screen and we may not see it. So, but we'll do our best. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our monthly parent meeting known as MacArthur Cafe. The agenda for tonight is we have upcoming 7th and 8th grade electives. So all of our current 6th and 7th grade parents, if you're wondering what electives are available for your students, you'll find out tonight. For our 8th grade parents, we're going to talk about the 8th grade end of year activities. We want to talk about campus trends that we're noticing here at MacArthur and definitely want to talk about school safety. And then family nights, we have some fun events coming up for all of our families. And then, as I mentioned at the end, we will have a question and answer portion. So if you're patient and you could wait till we get to the end, we will answer all your questions for you then.
Muchas gracias a todos por acompañarnos en esta noche. Gracias por estar aquí. Estamos acompañados con el director, el señor González, la subdirectora, señora Daniels, subdirector, señor Olivas, el consejero, Mr. Díaz, y yo soy el señor Arana. Y muchas gracias por acompañarnos. Esta vez vamos a hablar sobre diferentes temas que tienen que ver con clases electivas para estudiantes que están actuando en sexto y séptimo grado. También vamos a hablar sobre las actividades del octavo grado que tenemos planeados para ellos. También sobre unas tendencias familiares, tendencias aquí escolar que tenemos en la escuela y seguridad también aquí en la escuela. Y sobre noches familiares que tenemos próximamente. Y también al final vamos a tener preguntas y respuestas. También tenemos, si tienen preguntas, lo puede hacer en el chat de YouTube y ahí le vamos a poder contestar. Si cree que no hicimos no contestamos su pregunta, la puede poner de nuevo. Vamos a tratar de monitorear el chat y contestarlas también aquí en el YouTube. Si no, también la podemos poner en el chat también nosotros. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the elective selection process for our current 6th and 7th graders. So our school counselors went out today, and they'll be going out tomorrow as well to all the English and language arts classes. Basically, your son or daughter should be getting one of these forms that are on here on the screen. Make sure you review the election options with them so that they make the right choice. You could view them in the sheet. There's also an elective course descriptions of every elective course and all the other classes they have to take. And then also you could watch in our YouTube channel, which we'll put in the chat. You can go ahead and check out our elective videos. Those videos are of all our elective classes that are offered here at MacArthur. Make sure your child selects 3 different election options. Just because they really want one class doesn't mean that they're going to put it on there 3 times, because let's say we do not have space for them, then if they added the same class 3 times, then the school counselor is going to make the choice for them. So make sure that they make 3 different selections, their first choice, second choice, and third choice. And the parent signature is required in this form because we want to make sure parents are part of the process of electing your child's elective course. Because once a year starts, it's really hard to change their elective course due to due to scheduling constraints. So please make sure they make the right choice, and then it's an elective they enjoy. So this form and the ticket is this form and the signature is a ticket to complete the online elective form that's they're going to complete through their English class. And then please have them submit this form by March 10th. That's next Friday. So please make sure you go over this either paper copy, view our YouTube videos, so that then they can complete the online form and submit the form by March 10th. El proceso de clase electiva, vamos a hablar un poco sobre eso, es para estudiantes que están actualmente en el sexto y séptimo grado. Los consejeros escolares ya fueron a las clases de inglés, fueron el día de hoy y van a ir también el día de mañana. Es muy importante que usted como padre repase las clases electivas con su hijo o hija, ya sea en las hojas que van a llevar a casa o también lo pueden ver por YouTube, que es en YouTube pueden ver los videos cortos de cada programación de cada clase. También asegúrese de que su hijo haga tres diferentes opciones en orden de preferencia. No nada más porque quiera una clase tiene que ponerla 3 veces, porque si en dado caso esa clase no está disponible, entonces su consejero va a tener que seleccionar la clase para su hijo. Requerimos que esa forma la llene con su hijo y necesitamos una firma de ya sea padre o madre abajo o tutor legal. Y esta forma, con la firma, va a ser el ticket para que ellos puedan llenar la forma oficial que va a ser en línea y lo van a hacer en su clase de inglés. Queremos que envíe ese formulario con su hijo o hija antes del 10 de marzo. Así que es muy importante que usted como padre sea parte de esta selección, porque ya cuando empieza el año escolar 23-24 es muy difícil de cambiar su clase electiva si ya no quiere esa opción. Por eso queremos que haga una decisión que su estudiante quiera y que sea algo que a él o a ella le guste. You're
I
muted.
mean, sorry. So this is a very exciting time for students to be able to be hopeful and get excited for the next year for sixth and seventh graders. So actually, we have a list here. First, you will see that they have eighth graders have a big list. So it's overarching. So art, there's art 1 and 2. Robotics, there's robotics 1 and robotics 2, and digital media. And then for Spanish, there's a couple of them. Spanish 1 and Spanish 1 and Spanish 1B. Those are like for students that are not really into or not really well spoken or don't know English or don't know Spanish for as a language. And then language culture A and language culture B. It's most likely for like students that do know Spanish. They know how to write or read a bit, and so like that would be more of a fit for them. And then speech and debate, Avid, PAL, medical detectives, yearbook, tech squad, which is kind of helping around the office. There's a very limited on those. Music, which is also one of our large ones. Intermediate band, concert band, intermediate orchestra, advanced orchestra, and journalism. And again, each student gets to pick one. They can, one will be in their schedule out of the 5 classes. They get one. That's the 6th class, but they get to pick 3 just in case the first or second don't get selected. So that's 8th graders for their elective class selection options. And then I believe we're going to be going. Yeah, I think.
Are we going to do that in Spanish?
Yeah, Mr. Rana.
You want me to do it, Diaz?
Yeah.
Okay. So para las diferentes clases que pueden tomar si su hijo va a entrar al 8º grado es ya sea arte, si le gusta el arte puede tomar arte 1 o arte 2. Si le gusta la robótica, está robótica 1, robótica 2 y digital media, que es cómo comunicarse, ya sea vía electrónica, puede ser como hacer diseños, páginas web y todo eso. También tenemos español 1, español 1B, lenguaje y cultura A y lenguaje y cultura B. Entonces, estas son diferentes opciones para español. Y nada más para español, recuerde que si quieren tomar, si ponen la clase de español en su 1, 2 o 3, es muy importante que su hijo o hija tome el examen para ver en qué español va a quedar. Y ese examen va a ser marzo 20 después de escuela. Así que marzo 20 tienen que tomar el examen con la señora Barber después de escuela si quieren tomar español, ya sea si está su primera o segunda o tercera opción. Tenemos debate y discurso, tenemos AVER, tenemos PAL con el señor Boyd que está aquí presente también. Tenemos Medical Detectives, Yearbook, que es el anuario que se encarga de hacer el anuario del año escolar. Tenemos para los del grado 8 que son como Tech Squad, que son asistentes en la oficina. Y también tenemos música, si quieren música intermedia, de concierto, orquesta y avanzado. Todos esos tienen oportunidad de tomar alguna de estas. Y también tenemos journalism, que ellos hacen reportajes y se encargan de una página web donde hacen diferentes artículos de cosas que están pasando en la escuela. Entonces, estas son diferentes opciones para los del grado 8.
And just to add, Mr. Rana, because I didn't mention it and you mentioned it, for Spanish, for those that do want to do Spanish, they do have to take a placement test right on March 20th with Ms. Barber. So that kind of helps determine which Spanish they will be into. So thank you for adding that. And then also for seventh graders, it's a little limited. They just have Art 1 versus Art 2. Again, eighth graders, they get the majority of options, but for 6th to 7th, they do get options as well, more options than as a 6th grader. So I think the only difference they don't have Tech Squad. They have everything else. Spanish 1, Spanish A, Language Arts Cultural A, and everything else is similar and very similar. So it's a very great time for them to get excited and looking forward to their next year, just because they're able to actually choose one class with the help of the parents. Hopefully that we get your parents' signatures on there, so that we don't have any issues with not being in agreement with the one elective that they get to choose. We want to make sure that you guys do have that discussion at home, so that everybody agrees, and hopefully that they're able to get that one of their top 3 choices. So we're very happy that they're able to get elective options this next year.
También mire una pregunta que dice si para los del sexto grado con educación especial, si su hijo o hija tiene un IEP, puede que sea que a lo mejor ellos agarren apoyo académico como parte de su electivo, o puede que tome una clase electiva normal. Eso va a ser decidido cuando tenga su reunión en su IEP con su case manager, que es quien se encarga del caso. There was a question about students with an IEP. If your student has an IEP, then there might be a possibility that they might have a support class, academic support class, and that's going to be based on their IEP and the decision that they make as when you have your IEP meeting with your case manager. But if they don't have that course, then they can take any other elective. Para los del grado 7 hay un poquito menos opciones para ellos, pero también tienen varias opciones. Si van a entrar al grado 7, pueden tomar Arte 1, Robótica 1 y Digital Media, que es parte de robótica, y Español 1 y Español de Lenguaje y Cultura A también. Te pueden tomar discurso y debate, pueden tomar el curso de AVER, PAL, pueden ser parte del anuario y diseñar el libro del año. Pueden tomar Medical Detectives, que eso se tiene que ver con todo lo que tenga que ver con el rango de medicina. Pueden tomar música, si les gusta la música y es intermedia, banda intermedia, banda de concierto, orchestra, y avanzada e intermedia. Y también pueden tomar journalism, que ellos se encargan de hacer también las entrevistas, videos, y manejan una página donde ellos ponen artículos ahí para compartir con la escuela.
Good evening, MacArthur families. This is an exciting time for our 8th graders. We're down to our last semester of middle school. So with that comes a lot of things to look forward to. We do have a lot of privileges and events for our kids to take part in, as long as they meet their end of the bargain, which is passing their classes. So we do have some upcoming events for our 8th graders. We have the very first one in line is going to be the 8th grade dance. And that's for 8th graders only, and that's on May 19th from 5 to 8 p.m. It's a really nice event. We get all dressed up, and we really celebrate our eighth graders for making it to this part of the year. Um, we have music, we have a photo booth, we will feed them. It'll be a fun evening. So we're excited to see our kids take part in that event. Shortly thereafter, we will have our Knots trip, which is on May 30th. Students will leave here from MacArthur at 7:50 a.m. and they will be returning at 5:30 p.m. It's a day long worth of rides and fun with their classmates. It is truly a eventful time. So we're excited to see our kids take part in that. And that's the day right after Memorial Day. So um, the very next day, that's where we have our slideshow and our yearbook signing. And that's on May 30th. And that's where kids get to see videos of pictures and music and just kind of remembering their time here at MacArthur. It is an emotional event for our kids because it's becoming reality that middle school is indeed coming to an end. So right after that slideshow, the kids exit the PAR and they sign their yearbooks and they make memories that they will look back on for years to come. So it's a really great event. And then the biggest one of them all, June 1st, that's the promotion ceremony. That's where we all get dressed up, and you will be coming to celebrate your kids promoting on that day. It's a special event. We will provide more details as we get closer on all of these events. We did meet with our eighth graders earlier last week to talk about what we have to do to get to these events. Everything from pass our classes and follow rules and not get in trouble and all that good stuff. So we sent home a packet that should have come home uh, last week, and then they should have turned it in by last Friday. So again, we will be providing more information about all of these events the closer that we get there. We just got into March, but in a few months we will be celebrating a lot with your kids.
All right. And there's one question about Knott's that we'll just answer now. The question is the trip to Knott's only from MacArthur students, or will there be other schools there? And the answer is there will be other schools there, quite a few schools. This time of year, there are so many schools doing the same trip as we are. And so, and it's not just schools from Santa Ana, it's schools from LA County, Orange County, um, uh, Riverside, and San Bernardino County. I'm not going to say San Diego because I don't think anybody comes up from San Diego, but a lot of kids there. It's a blast.
Yes, and just to add a little bit more about the dance is a free event. It's great. It's amazing. It's a lot of fun. We have like a Mr. Boyd dresses wears his suit and he opens the door for all our students to come in and enter campus. We have amazing decorations, but we can't do any of this without our parents' help. So today we're going to be tomorrow we're going to be sending out a donation letter. We're asking to see if our parents are willing to donate $25 that is going to go towards our dance. This is going to provide them uh, part of it will be food, photo booth. We're trying to get the 360 photo op. We're trying to get also like a shave ice or some sort of dessert truck, and just have make it a great event for them because most of these students did have they had their fifth grade promotion during COVID, so they didn't really have any sort of celebration. So we want to make sure that all our eighth graders are celebrated and leave MacArthur with a big party. So yeah, the packet is due tomorrow. It's actually due tomorrow. So I did send out a parent square today, just letting them reminding you to turn it in tomorrow. But yes, tomorrow all eighth grade parents will be getting a donation letter with an envelope. If you wish to donate, please send the money send the $25 or more in the envelope, and we're going to be collecting them in the front office. And then our PFO members and our eighth grade committee parents will be collecting it, and then we'll see how much money is raised. And based on how much money is raised, we're going to see how much more we could add to our dance. So far, PFO cannot pay for the entire thing because it ranges anywhere between $6,000 to $10,000. So just for that day. So we want to make sure that we get your support. And if you're willing to donate, please donate $25 or you can donate more if you want. Just put it on the envelope, and then you're going to turn that into the front office.
One more quick announcement. If your child hasn't shared the packet with you, and they're an eighth grader, then you need to ask them to give you the packet. If not, we do have extra copies in the front office. You could stop by and pick one up, sign it right there on the spot, and turn it into us. But your student did receive one if they were here on Monday, the 27th, and they should have got one. Even if they weren't here, they should have got one or received one from their language arts teacher or Tiger Connection teacher the following day. So,
and I added the packet in the parent square today. So if you have access to a printer, you can also print it at home and then send it with your child tomorrow. Entonces tenemos varias actividades planeadas para los del grado. Olivas, are you doing this? Or...
I can do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lo que le estamos informando al grupo es que este es el tiempo del año que especialmente para los niños del octavo grado, ya estamos llegando al último semestre, estamos aquí y hay muchas celebraciones que ocurren para nuestros niños del octavo grado. El empiezo va a ser el baile del octavo grado que viene siendo el 19 de mayo, va a ser de 5 a 8 de la tarde y es un evento muy bonito. Nos tenemos que vestir en manera formal, les damos de cenar a los niños, vamos a tener música, vamos a tener una área para tomar fotos. Es un evento que les gusta mucho a los niños y queremos celebrar que llegamos al fin, porque hay pronto se les va a acabar el tiempo en la escuela de MacArthur. Ahí después vamos a tener el evento donde los niños van a ir a Knott's Berry Farm. Se van de aquí de la escuela como a las 7:50 de la mañana y vuelven a las 5:30 de la tarde. Se pasan todo el día en Knott's Berry Farm. Este evento no nomás es para la escuela MacArthur, hay otras escuelas del condado de Orange, vienen de otras áreas también. Entonces van a pasar el día festejando en Knott's Berry Farm. Tienen que irse con nosotros y van a volver con nosotros también en un camión. El día después de ese, el 31 de mayo, vamos a tener un evento donde los niños entran a ver fotos y videos de la experiencia que han tenido en la escuela aquí desde el sexto grado. Este es un evento muy emocional para los niños porque a ese punto se van dando cuenta que el tiempo se les está acabando en la secundaria aquí. Entonces, después de eso, salen para afuera y luego se escriben mensajes en el yearbook. Y pues esos mensajes son bien bonitos porque cuando pasan los años tenemos la oportunidad de volver a ver lo que nos escribieron los amigos. Y luego el día después de eso, el 1 de junio, es el día muy grande, la ceremonia de promoción. Estos son de ustedes como familia y nosotros como escuela. Vamos a celebrar a su hijo, a su hija. Eso es de las 10 a las 11 de la mañana. Vamos a mandar más información de todos estos eventos. Les dimos un paquete a todos los niños. Este lunes nos juntamos con ellos y en este paquete les da información donde tienen que dar su firma y le informamos a sus hijos y a sus hijas que tienen que devolver o regresar este paquete para el día de mañana. Entonces, si por cualquier razón no les han dado un paquete, por favor pregúntenles a sus hijos. Si no tienen el paquete, nosotros tenemos copias aquí en la oficina. Entonces, ahí cuando vayamos llegando ya más cerca a los eventos, les vamos a mandar más información en lo que se necesita o si están interesados en involucrarse como voluntarios. Toda esa información podemos darles lo más cerca que llegamos.
All right, eighth grade activities. So Mr. Olivas just shared all the wonderful opportunities that our students have. And I will be the bearer of bad news. They're kind of given these events, but they can lose them if they don't follow certain rules. So all students received a packet on Monday, the 27th. So please review it with your child so that you are aware of the activities planned for eighth graders and how they can lose their privileges. I just want to remind them, both parents and students, that academics always come first. And so There's a number of ways that a child can use or a student can lose their privileges. One of them is by not passing classes. So if they get an F second semester, or a total of 4 Fs, so if they had 3 Fs first semester and then 1 F second semester, they lose all their privileges, unfortunately. Being suspended will cost a student their privileges. Um, and anytime they get a Thursday school, which means they've reached their 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th homework card or more, they will lose a privilege. And we just want to keep them motivated to continue working hard and doing their work. And teachers are always flexible and understanding towards the end of the year, but we want students to focus on academics. We want them to understand that in high school, classes count. If you get an F in a high school course, they don't just move you along. They will make you retake the course. And if you fall behind enough, let's say you miss 3 or 4, you get 3 or 4 Fs in that first year or second year of high school, unfortunately, you're getting sent to continuation school. And so we want to keep our kids responsible, hold them accountable, and make sure that they understand the, that in high school, there is no just getting pushed along, that they will have to earn their diploma. And so it may seem a little strict, but we're trying to teach our kids the skills and values that they're going to need to become successful later on in high school and throughout life, for that matter. So we ask for your support. We definitely will work with our students and give them all the support they need to meet these requirements, but they need to meet them.
Entonces, todos los estudiantes empiezan con todas las actividades del año grado 8, pero también todo esto es un privilegio. Entonces, nosotros aquí en la escuela MacArthur nos enfocamos en lo académico. Entonces, siempre lo académico es primero y queremos hacerles saber a usted y a sus hijos que eso es primero y que si puede perder los privilegios por hacer diferentes infracciones. Una de esos es si agarra una F en una clase, pierde pierde el slideshow, el baile y el viaje de knots, y posiblemente también la ceremonia, pero regularmente no. Entonces, también si es suspendido, pierde todo. Si toda esa información fue dada en su paquete, entonces cualquier duda o pregunta se puede comunicar con nosotros, pero nada más queremos hacerles saber que la mayoría lo hacen porque es parte de la F. Entonces, desde ahorita nosotros ya estamos enfocándonos en los estudiantes que tienen Fs para asegurarnos de que todavía tienen tiempo para reponer sus grados. Estamos en las segundas 6 semanas y todavía lo pueden hacer si ellos ponen de su parte. Y también nos hemos reunido con algunos padres para hacerles saber si tienen más de 2 o 3 Fs, para hacerles saber todo eso. Entonces, todos los estudiantes recibieron ese paquete el 28 de febrero. Es muy importante que lo revise con su hijo para que esté al tanto de las actividades y también cómo puede perder sus privilegios y cómo usted también en padre lo puede ayudar en casa para que pueda participar en todo eso. También el último día para entregar esto es mañana en su clase de 0 periodo o Tire Connection. Y le vamos a dar más detalles. Son muchas actividades, pero le vamos a dar detalles adicionales sobre cada evento a través de Parent Score, ya que se acerque la fecha, con si va a ocupar mochilas, qué pueden llevar a knots, qué no pueden llevar, cómo se van a vestir en el baile, a qué horas es la promoción y los detalles de todo eso. Entonces, nada más ténganos paciencia, vamos a mandar toda esa información. Ahorita ya sabe todas las fechas importantes, pero ya todos los detalles lo vamos a mandar 1 o 2 semanas antes de cada evento para que usted esté al pendiente. Pero ese paquete tiene mucha información. Es muy bueno que lo repase y se quede con las otras hojas y nada más mande la hoja que es necesaria mandar. Y ese paquete nada más es para los del grado 8. Ningún otro estudiante recibió ese paquete porque todas esas actividades nada más es para el grado 8. This packet was only sent to 8th graders because it's only for 8th grade activities. All 6th and 7th graders do not have this packet.
And then just a few questions in the chat that we could answer before moving on. Will the slideshow and yearbook signing be the entire day and do they need to bring backpacks? The slideshow and yearbook will take a majority of the day. It is a modified day, and it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours of the modified day. And there will be no backpacks allowed the last week of school, so they'll have to bring their yearbook and pens and just carry them in their hand that day. Another question is, are we having back to school night? I think you're referring to open house. Yes, we will have open house. It is April 27th. It's a Thursday. And then I see one other question about when is the last day to meet the grade expectations? So this was shared with the students. They have until May 17th, which is like the second to last week of school, to get their grades up. So if they have Fs, they have until May 17th. Whatever their grade is on that day, that is what will determine whether they get to participate in 8th grade activities. The beautiful thing is that there's Aries parent portal, there's Aries student portal, and they could check their grades along the way. Counselors will be calling out and meeting with kids who have one or more Fs to let them know, that they need to turn around, but also come up with a plan for them. So we will do our part as a school to make sure that kids are well aware of what's at stake, and we will let parents know as well. But ultimately, the responsibility falls on the child to get the work done. But we will do our part to make them aware.
Y nada más algo importante, la fecha límite para los del grado 8 para que no tengan Fs y puedan participar en las actividades es mayo 17, así que es muy importante que tengan esa fecha en cuenta, mayo 17, pero los consejeros estamos trabajando con sus hijos para, si tienen Fs, para hacer un plan para que no puedan tenerlas, pero usted puede chequear por Parent Square, por Aries Parent Square para ver si los maestros están mandando notificaciones, y también usted nos puede ayudar para estar al pendiente en casa, checando la agenda, revisando que estén haciendo sus trabajos, que no tenga tareas faltantes y todo eso. Pero estamos tratando de hacer lo posible para que todos puedan participar y no tengan Fs y puedan participar en las actividades.
Okay, so great to see everybody here tonight. I would really like to share that on March 9th, so that's next Thursday, we're going to be having a great event. It's a family night. It's Join the MacArthur Mentors from the UCI Department of Neurobiology and Behavior. And they're going to be talking about the science behind smoking. Mrs. Flores was actually sharing with me today that they may be working on building a lung. So I think that'll be pretty interesting. And 7th graders can earn gold for attending this event. So that'll be pretty valuable to them in their history fair project that they're participating in. So it's next Thursday, March 9th at 6 p.m. Everybody's welcome, and I hope to see you guys there.
Entonces invitamos todos que vengan el jueves 9 de marzo a nuestra noche familiar, que tiene que ver esa vez con la ciencia detrás de fumar y usar los cigarrillos electrónicos. Entonces estos mentores vienen del Departamento de Neurobiología y Comportamiento de la Universidad de California, Irvine, y va a ser el próximo jueves, marzo 9 a las 6 p.m. Si su hijo o hija está en el grado 7, también puede recibir oro por venir a este evento, y eso lo pueden usar para la History Fair.
So I see somebody's asking if 6th graders can go to this event, the Science Behind Smoking. Absolutely. It's a STEM night, so it's all students are welcome. Thank you so much for asking.
Y este evento es para todos los estudiantes, pero si su estudiante está en el grado 7, nada más es por eso que le van a dar el gold, que es por la History Fair.
All right, we're going to talk now about campus trends and safety. We all assume that you chose MacArthur as your child's school because, for many reasons, the rigor, the safety, the tradition and reputation we have as being a high-performing school. And so none of this is possible without parent support and also us communicating to our parents and working together to make sure that we keep MacArthur safe. And so we have noticed some trends coming back from remote learning. We really didn't know what we were going to get. In my version of it, I thought the kids would come running onto campus wanting to give us all high fives because they missed us. And some of them did, but some students did not do that. And they came back with some very interesting habits that they picked up while being out of school. And we are still working to get back to what we kind of think as normal, a new normal, of course. One thing that we're noticing is the excessively baggy clothes, and we're going to ask that you as parents help us before they even leave the house to make sure that they're wearing clothes that fit them appropriately, that they're not sagging their pants, that they're not 2 to 3 sizes bigger than what they usually wear, because it does kind of project an image that we're trying to move away from. And so we ask that you please help us, save us a step of having to do it. And you could do it you could do it at home just before they leave for school. There's nothing wrong with telling them to go back inside and change, or to put a belt on and pick up their pants. And so that's one trend we're noticing. We're also noticing that kind of the same group of students that are wearing excessively baggy clothes are also coordinating their outfits together. And they'll all wear the same color shirts on the same day, or the same style of pants. And it's not a look that we want to encourage, not a mentality or an image that we want on our campus. They will get consequences for it. And so please make sure that you have this conversation. I know that's hard for you to do as a parent because you don't know what other students are wearing at school. But if you could have that conversation with your child and just say, hey, there's absolutely no reason that you should be trying to all match and look alike. Because then at nutrition and lunch, they all walk around together, and it just creates this atmosphere that we really don't want here at MacArthur, or at any school for that matter. And then lastly, we've noticed that girls specifically, but sometimes it's boys that are bringing accessories as well. But once your child gets to school, their only focus should be on academics. We have nutrition and lunch, and they get to socialize. They get PE so they could get their energy out. But the eyelashes, makeup, nails, eyelash curlers, all that needs to stay at home. It's a distraction. Students are not focusing on the things that are important at school if they're worried about their physical appearance and spending time at lunch or nutrition. And unfortunately, sometimes it creeps into the classroom, and then they think they could start putting makeup on in class. And so it's not a huge issue, but we don't want it to become a huge issue. So we're addressing it now. Please talk to your children and make sure that they're not bringing any of these items to school. They will be confiscated if they are, because there's just no place for it. It doesn't make them a better student. It doesn't make them a better person. When they leave their house, they should be ready to come to school and learn, and not have to worry about putting on accessories. And I'll let Mr. Arana translate that.
Sí, nada más estamos hablando un poco sobre el código de vestimenta después de que regresamos de aprendizaje a distancia, y después de en este año escolar hemos notado que los estudiantes están trayendo, niños y niñas están trayendo ropa muy, muy aguada que no les queda, entonces ropa muy grande para el tamaño que ellos son. Entonces es muy importante que usted como padre si puede revisar en casa y chequear a su hijo o hija antes de que salga de casa para ver si está muy grande su ropa, o por qué tiene esa ropa tan grande cuando la compra, o esas cosas. Entonces, para que cuando venga aquí a la escuela no pierda tiempo saliendo de clase para ir a agarrar una tarjeta por la ropa, a ver a Miss Salazar y todo eso, porque no están perdiendo horas, minutos de clases. Entonces, también esos mismos estudiantes que están haciendo eso están coordinando con sus amigos y amigas, y están trayendo el mismo estilo de ropa, ya sea el mismo color de pantalón, con la misma color de camisa y todo eso. Entonces se están poniendo de acuerdo, y no queremos ver eso cuando está en el lonche o en el almuerzo, que ese grupo de niños está caminando juntos. Entonces, ¿qué puedes pensar tú si hay un grupo de niños caminando juntos que traen la misma ropa, ya se está haciendo como un grupo, entonces no queremos esos grupos aquí en la escuela. Y por último, también los accesorios. El enfoque aquí en la escuela, cuando están en la escuela, es su académico y que sí se socialicen, pero durante el almuerzo nada más. Pero hemos notado que estudiantes están trayendo las pestañas, se las están poniendo aquí en la escuela, están trayendo maquillaje, se están poniendo maquillaje aquí en la escuela, y las uñas muy grandes con muchas cosas que nada más están distrayendo pues no nada más a ellos, pero a los demás. También están trayendo cadenas muy grandes y joyería que no pues no está permitida. No venimos a la escuela para ver quién trae mejor cosas o nada de eso, pero sí queremos enfocarnos en lo académico. Entonces, por eso es muy importante que, um, que, que tengan eso, pues que ustedes nos ayuden en casa revisando a su hijo cuando salga de la escuela para asegurarnos de que vengan listos para aprender y que no los tengamos nosotros que sacar de clase para que se cambien de ropa o otra playera o todo eso. Entonces le pedimos su ayuda en eso y si trae cosas para enchinar pestañas y todo eso, que lo deje en casa, que ya cuando uno viene a la escuela, ya que venga preparado para lo que vienen aquí a hacer, que es aprender.
All right. Just a few comments in the chat that I want to address. What is the rule regarding long sleeve shirts? My daughter said they are not allowed anymore, or is it only undershirts? So that's kind of a tricky question. They are long sleeve shirts are allowed, and I realize it's like record breaking low temperatures lately, and we're making some exceptions because we usually don't allow hoodies or beanies. But when it's 38 degrees outside, I'm not going to tell a kid to take their hoodie off or beanie off. But once the sun comes out and it's warm, we do ask that they take them off. And 99.9% of the time, our kids do exactly what we ask them to do. And so we're very thankful for that. They're very respectful and follow rules. Regarding long sleeve shirts, there was just a kind of this trend we noticed where students were wearing excessively baggy shirts or oversized shirts and then an undershirt under it or a long sleeve shirt under it, and then coordinating to match with their friends. And that just presents a very undesirable look on our campus that we're not comfortable with. And so we kind of put a stop to that. I will say that if clothes are properly fitting, it's probably not going to be an issue. And we'll have a conversation with the kid. And if you ever have questions, you could give us a call or stop by the office and talk to us, and we will be more than happy to discuss these issues with you. I know we have a dress code, and it was one thing at the beginning of the year, but we just noticed some disturbing behaviors and trends towards the middle of the year that we wanted to address. And so we didn't mean to create any financial hardships on anyone or make things difficult. We're just trying to protect our kids and make sure that they model appropriate dress attire and that the focus truly is on school and not trying to look cool or have peer pressure to make them dress a certain way. And so that was the reason for kind of the mid-year switch. But there was no ill intention of creating hardships on any family. And if you called us, I think we explained that to you as best as we could. Is there specific... Oh, go ahead.
La pregunta nada más era de mangas largas o playeras sólidas. Entonces, ahorita sí, con el frío que está haciendo, entonces los estudiantes están trayendo mangas largas y a veces se ponen como beanies y todo eso por el frío. Pero sí, cuando ya sale el sol, le pedimos que se lo quite. Los estamos enfocando más hay muchos estudiantes que estaban trayendo playeras grandes y aparte otra manga larga abajo de otro color. Entonces, estamos más enfocándonos en el tamaño de la playera. Un niño que es size small no va a traer una 2X o extra large para usar. Entonces, eso es lo que nos estamos enfocando porque no queremos que traer esa cultura aquí a la escuela, eso que a lo mejor ven están mirando en las tiendas o muchas de las tiendas como la que... los brands que venden en el Swami y todo eso que no el Pro Club hacen playeras muy grandes, aunque son de tamaños pequeños. Entonces, por eso es que nos estamos enfocando de eso y sí cambiamos, hicimos ese cambio al principio del año, empezando este año escolar, pero era porque estábamos mirando esa cultura en la escuela y es algo que no queremos aquí en la escuela. And also our PFO is currently selling merchandise and will be selling on March 10th during the dance, so 4 to 5. If you're interested in purchasing any spirit wear, where they do have now all sizes and sweaters, hoodies, t-shirts, polos. So you could purchase them either if you message them via Instagram, MacArthur Tigers PFO, and they'll arrange it to meet with you here on campus. And if not, then you can stop by on March 10th between 4 and 5 to purchase spirit wear. También nuestro padres de PFO están vendiendo la ropa de MacArthur. Entonces, si usted quiere comprar ropa o quiere comprar suéter o playeras para que sea más fácil que su hijo se pueda vestir y nada más traer esa ropa, entonces puede venir, puede mandarles mensaje a su Instagram, que es MacArthur Tigers PFO. Y si no, puede venir el viernes 10 de marzo, de entre 4 y 5, ellos van a estar afuera vendiendo ropa de PFO y de MacArthur. Y ya tienen de todos los tamaños y tienen playeras, suéteres con cierre y hoodies y polos. Entonces ya recibieron más mercancía.
All right. And then there was a question about specific jewelry that is not allowed. The one thing that comes to mind instantly is hoop earrings. Kind of, they should be smaller than a dime. One, there's safety issues. There's crowded hallways. We've seen students in passing get their earrings caught on another student, or even as they take off their sweaters, they get stuck in their sweaters. Again, we want the focus to be on academics, and it may seem like sometimes we have excessive rules, but I will say that we have a fraction of the issues that some other schools have, and we just want our kids to come to school, not feel like there's pressure to outdo the kid next to them by wearing bigger earrings or fancier clothes, and just really focus on school and feel safe and feel comfortable, and that is the goal. If you ever have questions about specifics, I'll be the first to admit I haven't memorized the dress code. It's not something that I go looking for every day, but sometimes kids just wear things that are so obviously out of dress code that it's hard to ignore. And so we do have the parent-student handbook that was sent home at the beginning of the year. It is posted on our school website, and it does list the items that are not allowed. So we can definitely send that out if you need it, or if you want to stop by and have a conversation. We're always more than happy to help have that conversation. Again, the end result is we just want our kids to be safe, focus on academics, and prepare for the real world. Job interviews and college interviews and stuff like that. And knowing how to dress appropriately is an important skill. And we want to do our part to prepare our students for success.
Alguien preguntó sobre qué tipo de joyería no pueden traer, y lo que se nos viene a la mente más que están usando son que usan aretes muy grandes de rueda. Entonces la rueda tiene que ser como el tamaño de un dime o un penny. Entonces no queremos, por su seguridad de las niñas o los niños, no queremos que usen aretes de rueda, porque hemos visto que se les agarra en el suéter, o a veces cuando van caminando durante diferentes periodos se le atraviesa a otro estudiante en el pelo o lo que sea. Entonces todo lo que estamos haciendo es por seguridad y por de los estudiantes, y queremos que también sea pues el enfoque en lo académico, y no queremos ver que vean a ver quién trae los aretes más grandes o el más bling bling o lo que sea, porque también hemos visto que muchos estudiantes traen cinturones con perlas o como diamantes que es como imitación, pues que brillan mucho, pero no es necesario traer eso a la escuela. A la escuela se ocupa un cinto normal, no es una fiesta que van a venir aquí ni nada de eso. Entonces Por eso queremos que el enfoque sea no académico y nada más que vengan presentables como un estudiante a la escuela, ya que cuando ellos los queremos preparar para el futuro, cuando ellos tengan una entrevista no van a llegar con los aretes grandes, no van a llevar con joyería de más, van a ir bien vestidos y eso es para lo que los estamos preparando. You're muted.
I wasn't saying anything important, anyways. I agree with Miss Rangel, who said that all we need to do to avoid these problems is have students wear polos and sweaters, and ideally that's what we'd like. But there's reasons why we can't demand that. But it would be nice if we could get parents to support us in that way. Campus safety. So this is a topic that I know is on the minds of many of our parents as they have emailed me about it or talked to me about it in passing in the morning or after school. And so there was an incident on Tuesday of last week, which was February 21st. About 4:40 p.m., a vehicle drove through the fence on the Lily King Park side of MacArthur, entered our campus while students from the Engage 360 program were out playing. And the vehicle seemed like the vehicle was looking for a way out on the opposite end of MacArthur near the bike trail. And when he realized that there was a fence there, he made a U-turn. At no point, from my understanding, and I wasn't there, so I can't say with certainty, but from my understanding, from what the students told me, he wasn't trying to run any of them down. He was looking for his way out. Then when he realized that he couldn't get out through the blacktop, he made another U-turn and headed for the bike trail, and eventually busted through the gate at the bike trail side of MacArthur, drove down the bike trail to MacArthur Boulevard, came back up Flower, and then near Saddleback High School, crashed through the fencing there and ended up in the water canal or the ditch. My understanding is he was arrested later on that evening. Unfortunately, I don't get an updated police report. I get my information similar to the way you guys do. I watched the news later that night, or looked online and found out that he was arrested. So I wasn't purposely withholding information from you guys. I kind of got the same information that you got when you got it. And so it was a very scary event. We are so grateful that nobody was injured. It could have ended a lot worse than what it did. I don't think anybody could have predicted that was going to happen. But now that it has happened, I think we need to have conversations about how we prevent it from happening in the future. And so parents have expressed the need for a wrought iron gate or a structure, a fencing structure that is a little more secure than a chain link fencing and some poles that are cemented into the grass. I have reached out to the district. I have emailed them about that, about what our options are. A project like that does take some time and does cost some money, and so they are looking into what is available to us. In the meantime, they are going to repair the existing fence, so that will get repaired. I don't want you to think that because it's repaired that the other fencing is not on the table for discussion. In a district as large as ours, things do take time. There are processes that have to be followed and conversations that need to take place. And so I promise you that they are taking place. I will say that parents' voice is important in this district. I think you guys have learned that over time, that your voice is very important, not only to the superintendent, but to the district as a whole. And so a few parents have communicated that they do want to reach out to the board and share their thoughts. And that is your right as a parent. The only thing I would suggest is that if you are going to go to the board, that you guys coordinate, and I could help that, your message, and make sure that we have one message, a message that's clear and concise of what we're asking for as a community in school. as opposed to having 15 or 20 parents show up to the board talking separately, and then our message is lost, and the district doesn't know how to respond to what we're asking for. I also believe that we need to ask respectfully, because I don't think this is anybody's fault. I don't think anybody could have predicted what happened that day. But we are in control of how we respond to it. And I think that's what's most important. I've shared my concerns. I've heard what parents have said and what's needed and wanted to make our campus safe and make our students feel safe. I'm 100% in agreement with you that a wrought iron fence and cameras are necessary, and that is my goal, is to get those things for us. I appreciate your help, and your voice does matter. So again, if you need to email a board member, by all means, please do so. But I think our message would be a lot stronger if maybe we coordinated our efforts together. I see a ton, as I expected.
Do you want to translate that, Mr. Arana, what Mr. Gonzalez just was saying?
While he thinks of the yeah. Okay, so lo próximo es que estamos hablando sobre la seguridad aquí en la escuela. Febrero 21 pasó un incidente durante el programa Después de Escuela, donde una camioneta o van entró por el parque, pasó por el gate del lado del parque, se fue en el área del zacate donde los estudiantes estaban jugando de Engage 360. Trató de salir por el otro lado, pero como no miraba salida, entonces regresó y se volvió a salir hasta que pudo salir por el otro lado del gate, por donde está el de bicicletas, el camino de bicicletas. Por ahí salió, y después el carro fue a caer allá por el frente de la escuela Saddleback High School. Entonces, sí nos notificaron que la persona fue arrestada y le dieron cargos. Esto es algo que no podíamos predicar, entonces no es la culpa de nadie, pero sí es donde ocupamos la voz de todos los padres, porque el distrito, como el superintendente Almendares, siempre quiere escuchar la voz de padres, y creemos que ellos actúan más rápido o mejor cuando es la voz de los padres, porque para ellos están trabajando para todos ustedes. Entonces, podemos coordinarnos para poder platicar con ellos, ir a una reunión del distrito y expresar nuestra opinión y lo que queremos hacer en la escuela para que sea un poco más segura para todos nuestros estudiantes. Es mejor si se planea esto para que todos tengamos una respuesta como en unión, y sea un grupo en unión y un grupo respetuoso, ya que tenemos que ir con esa actitud para hacerles saber pues las necesidades que nosotros miramos que necesitamos aquí en la escuela. Por ahorita sí van a arreglar el portón que está ahorita, pero en el futuro sí están pensando en agarrar otro gate que sea como de metal, de varilla de hierro se llama, me parece, y poner postes para que sea un poco más seguro, porque ahorita nada más tiene el fence que es como de aluminio. Entonces, eso va a tomar un poco más de tiempo, porque tienen que agarrar diferentes contratos y todo eso, pero por ahorita sí van a arreglar eso, y también estamos todavía peleando para tener cámaras aquí en la escuela, no nada más en el área del parque, sino también adentro de la escuela. Entonces, para todo eso necesitamos su apoyo, y esperemos que nos pueda apoyar, y si quieren ser parte de este como comité para poder hacer eso, se puede comunicar con nosotros para poder planear algo y hacerlo respetuosamente, y hablar con el board y el superintendente para que ellos puedan escuchar nuestras preocupaciones.
All right, we're going to talk on the last bullet point, which is park concerns, and then I see the questions in the chat, and I will go through them, or we will go through them from top to bottom and answer them as best as we can before calling it a night. So the last one is park concerns. As you know, Lily King Park is right next to MacArthur Fundamental. we ask that kids don't hang out in the park before or after school. I will share a story, and it is not a good one, but it's the reality that we live in this day and age. And that's, we did discover that a group of students were organizing the purchase of vape pens, and a company or a service was delivering or attempting to deliver vape pens to the park, meeting them in the park to distribute vape pens. We are working with Santa Ana Police Department and school police to make sure that this gentleman or this service that's provided online is looked into. But that is the reality that the reality that we live in nowadays, is that kids can go onto an app and organize the purchase of a controlled substance. And unfortunately, there are adults out there willing to drive up on a bike, pull up to a group of kids, and pass off vape pens to them, of course, for sale. And so we are doing sweeps of the park every morning. But it is a numbers game. We have, 5, 6, 700 kids on campus. So we need adults here. We have traffic out in front of the school. So we need adults out there. And then we have the park, which is a huge area to patrol. So we need your help. And one, telling your kids that they need to come straight to school. Please don't drop them off in the park. And two, if you see something, say something. I think that's the biggest struggle we're having. We have a lot of people who see things and unfortunately just choose not to say anything. We can't help or we can't intervene if we don't know what's happening. As soon as we found out about this, we started to work with school police and city police immediately. We will continue to do sweeps of the park in the morning and do everything we can, but we also need to keep the campus safe as well. And so it's kind of this numbers game in the morning and after school. We quite simply, we don't want kids hanging out in the park. And if it gets to the point where we have to start giving consequences if they're caught in the park, we will. And we ask that you support us in those consequences until they can get it through their beautiful minds that the park is off limits.
Entonces, nada más para hablar un poco sobre unas preocupaciones que tenemos sobre el parque, es que apenas tuvimos un incidente, una historia que no es bonita para contar ni algo de estar orgulloso de, pero hemos notado que estudiantes por parte de Instagram pueden pueden comprar vapes y plumas y todo eso con diferentes compañías o personas que están vendiendo en Instagram. Nada más les mandas mensajes privados y ellos te contestan y te encuentran donde quiera que tú estés y ahí hacen el intercambio. Entonces estos estudiantes habían planeado eso en el parque y en el parque iba a llegar alguien y les iba a dar ese intercambio por el dinero y les iba a dar las drogas. Entonces, por eso es muy importante que no deje a su hijo o hija en el parque. Eso está pasando en la mañana y en las tardes. Entonces, queremos que usted nos apoye y que si deja a su hijo, lo deje dentro de la escuela, o si lo deja, asegúrese de que camine directamente a la escuela, al portón, porque tenemos muchos estudiantes que nada más se hacen hangout en el parque y ahí están con los amigos y todo eso, pero no sabemos que en realidad qué es lo que está pasando ahí, y el parque está grande para poderlo monitorear. Cuando tenemos tiempo, sí, estamos yendo al parque y caminamos, pero como estamos haciendo eso, entonces ya las personas no están ahí, pero queremos que también después de escuela, si no recoge a su hijo temprano, entonces mejor que se espere enfrente de la escuela y no en el parque, porque en el parque no sabemos qué es lo que está pasando. Y sí, ahorita, después de que nos notificaron de esa noticia, fue un padre que vino y le chequeó el teléfono a su hijo o hija, y pudimos revisar todo esto y lo notificamos a la policía del distrito y también a la policía de la ciudad, para que ellos tengan caso a esto y tomen acción, porque estos son adultos que están vendiendo drogas a estudiantes y lo pueden hacer muy fácilmente por parte de Instagram. Los estudiantes de ahí comparten sus historias y le dan descuentos, y hay muchas cosas que uno cuando lo mira ni piensa pues que alguien pueda ser capaz de hacer estas cosas, pero sí lo hay a cambio de dinero, porque para estas compañías Su hijo o hija nada más es un signo de dólares, entonces ellos nada más quieren el dinero. Si algo mal le pasa a su hijo o hija, ellos tienen pues más niños, más niñas, más estudiantes a quien siguen continuando vendiendo. Entonces, necesitamos su apoyo. Si miramos que los estudiantes siguen continuando estando en el parque, vamos a asignar consecuencias. Esperamos también que ustedes nos apoyen y que firmen esas consecuencias, porque ya estamos notificando a ellos que el parque no es un lugar para estar, ya sea antes de la escuela y después de escuela, y si puede recoger a su hijo mero después de escuela es mejor por su seguridad.
All right, so I see a lot of questions in the chat, and I'm going to try my best to answer them. And team, you could chime in if you'd like at any point. The first one I see is Mr. or Mrs. Sanchez would like to know about what's happening in respect to the fights that are happening at school. As far as I know, and every time there's a fight, I do know there have been two fights on campus. There are smaller incidents of roughhousing or horse playing that get a little carried away, but as far as actual fights, there have been two. The consequence for fighting is suspension, and it doesn't matter if you started the fight or finished the fight. Anybody involved in a fight will be suspended, and that's California Education Code that we follow. We also don't just suspend. Once they return, we do have mediations or restorative circles to make sure that the students hopefully can coexist on our campus. I hope that answers your question. I still believe MacArthur is the safest campus in our district. We don't have a fraction of the problems that exist at other schools, but I do acknowledge that there are fights. These are 11, 12, 13-year-old kids who sometimes don't exercise the best judgment when dealing with problems. And so that's our job, to educate them, help them work through those problems, but also give them the consequences so that they understand that that's how life works, that there are consequences for actions.
La pregunta era sobre qué estamos haciendo respecto a las peleas que han ocurrido en la escuela. Hasta el momento nada más hemos tenido dos peleas aquí en la escuela. Y cuando alguien se pelea, ya sea que la empiece o la termine, los dos estudiantes son suspendidos de la escuela por ciertos días, y cuando ellos regresan trabajamos con ellos por mediación, círculos restaurativos, y tenemos diferentes programas aquí en la escuela que tratamos de trabajar con ellos para que ellos puedan continuar y hacer tomar la mejor decisión la próxima vez que se estén en una situación como la que estaban. Entonces, los consejeros, subdirectores trabajan con los estudiantes para asegurarnos de que esto ya no vuelva a ocurrir. Pero sí les podemos contar que MacArthur es una de las escuelas más seguras aquí en el distrito de Santana.
All right, the next question is from Ms. Suarez. Is the gate going to be replaced? I noticed that it has not, and it's covered with a green tarp. There actually is a fence there. So initially, that same night, they replaced it with like 2 sections of temporary fence. And then I reached out to them and asked them to come out and remove the damaged portions of the fence, and if there was anything else they could do to strengthen the temporary fence. So they came back and replaced it with different fencing, and that fencing does have like a green tarp or cover over it, but there is fencing there, and it is temporary until they could get the contractor to come out and install permanent fencing. But I also want to make it clear that my ask or my request to district is that they replace the entire fence on both sides of the school with wrought iron fencing, similar to what you see at some of the newer schools or the schools that have gone through modernization. We want the stronger, more secure fencing, and we're asking for it as soon as possible, and we're asking for cameras. And I did receive some news today that by June or July of this year, we should receive cameras on the exterior or the perimeter of our campus, as well as the interior of our campus. And we will be meeting soon to talk about where to place those cameras so we could keep our kids safe. So that was some good news, and I will keep you guys updated on that.
Entonces, sobre el fence, no lo reemplazaron por algo temporal, pero están trabajando con el distrito para pedir algo que sea no nada más de ese lado de la escuela, sino de los dos lados, que sea algo de hierro, para que pueda ser más fuerte y pueda ser como las fences que tienen las otras escuelas nuevas o las que están yendo por modernización. Entonces, algo también, otra buena noticia es que nos acaban de notificar que para el verano esperamos contar con cámaras, no nada más afuera de la escuela, pero también adentro de la escuela.
The next question is from Ms. Randon. She's asking if parents should go straight to the district. What I would suggest or advise, and I'm willing to coordinate the event, is that maybe we have a meeting here at school where parents can come, and you guys could kind of collaborate and discuss what message we want to send to the district, what are our requests, and there's always power in numbers. But I don't know it's necessary to have 27 parents repeat the same thing at a board meeting. Maybe having one or two nominating or electing one or two people to talk at the board meeting, but then having parents in the audience to represent the numbers that are requesting this enhancement or upgrade to our school. So this is what I'll do. I'll send out a parent square with a date and time. I'll make it in the evening, so that way as many people can come as possible. It's really your meeting. I'll just kind of facilitate the venue, and you guys can talk and come up with the plan. And again, I just ask that it be done respectfully. Again, I don't think anybody could have predicted what was going to happen that day. We're just looking for a solution now that it has happened. How can we make sure that it doesn't happen moving forward? That's what we owe to our kids, and not just the kids that are currently here. This is something that's going to benefit students for years to come if we could secure our perimeter of MacArthur and make sure that it's safe for everyone.
Entonces el señor González va a mandar un parent square con una fecha y un horario a todos los padres que quieran participar y tener esta reunión donde ustedes van a expresar sus preocupaciones o necesidades para poder ya sea nominar a uno o dos o tres padres para que ellos puedan hablar en una junta del concilio del distrito y ya así, pero tengamos el apoyo de todos los más padres ahí presentes, pero no tener 20 padres hablar sobre lo mismo, sino nada más tener uno, dos o tres padres que hablen y expresen lo que queremos aquí en la escuela que se haga por seguridad de todos los estudiantes y el personal aquí también.
If I can also add, Mr. Gonzalez, regarding a previous statement regarding like the fights or that happened, or like the two, us as counselors always help with mediation, and whenever there's anything going on with students, whether it's just an argument or with guys, girls, or both. So as counselors, we also do help with facilitating a lot of mediations, actually almost every week with different students in different times. So we also help with that area as well with the campus, and helping with that side of things, the personal side.
Thank you.
Can I add to that too, team? We have wonderful kids here at MacArthur, and yes, we've had issues happen with kids, but a lot of times kids will notify us that there's a problem in advance. So they'll tell us a young man or young lady's having problems with other kids, and we take it very seriously. We immediately communicate with kids, we communicate with families, just to try to avoid the issue getting to a point where it leads to something more serious. So we try to communicate with our kids, work with our kids, solve issues before they become bigger.
Thank you. A couple questions. It's kind of related to the wrought iron gate, but yes, we would love it on the bike trail side of the campus as well to help secure our campus. A question about how safe is it when the kids are playing at the park during lunch? How many teachers are out there supervising? So we have one teacher out there supervising, and we limit the number of kids that are out there. We use the park for PE throughout the day, so it's a very similar environment. We have about 50 kids in a PE class, and they use the park for PE, and so we extend that opportunity at lunch because we know that there's kids who just want to go out and have a good time. We have had 0 incidents in the park at lunch or during PE, and so we take that into consideration. We limit the number of kids, and but we also want to make sure we're giving them opportunities, and you know we will keep an eye on them and make sure that they're safe as best as we can, and we'll make adjustments if needed. How many teachers are out at the park supervising? So we do have a few teachers who sweep the park in the morning. The challenge that we face is that teachers also offer tutoring in the morning. It's their time to prep for their class for the day, and you know, I can't force them to go out into the park. We have 2 DSOs. We have 3 administrators. Sometimes the administrators are pulled into IEP meetings or other meetings. And so it really is, as I said earlier, a numbers game. We try our best to make sure that everything's covered. In the morning, we have anywhere from 300, 400, 500 kids on campus. So we need adults on campus as well. We need help patrolling traffic and getting cars in and out of our parking lot so kids can get to school on time. And then we have the park. And so the best advice I could give is, as a parent, if you could please just tell your kid they are not allowed to go to the park. They could walk through the park to get to school, but they really shouldn't be hanging out in the park or in front of the school or by the water tower. Once they're dropped off, they should come immediately onto campus. And so if you could have that conversation with your child, then we would appreciate that so much. And then I think that's it. I see a couple comments about the homeless situation. We had a meeting earlier this year at Saddleback High School with Santa Ana Police Department, Santa Ana School Police, the Orange County Sheriff, the City of Santa Ana, and Santa Ana Unified School District. The mayor, the mayoral candidates were there. The chief of police for both the school police and the city PD were there. And it has improved. They definitely do periodic sweeps of the riverbed down there. But just like anywhere else across the city, homelessness is becoming a serious issue. And so it becomes almost a numbers game again. We have so many resources, only so many resources to control all of that's going on. If you see something that doesn't look like it should be happening, you have every right to call the city PD. You can let us know in the front office. We'll call PD. We'll get extra bodies out there to make sure our kids are safe. It is going to take a team effort. There's only so many eyes out there, and the more we have from our parents, the better off we are. So don't be afraid to report things, because it does make a difference. And just to let you know how important your voice is, because I see that kind of as a recurring theme in the chat. We now have 2 DSOs. For 39 years, MacArthur had 1 DSO, and now we have 2. And that's because parents expressed their concern, along with staff, that we needed a second DSO. So we definitely want you to know how important your voice is, and that it does make change. So thank you for that. And now it's time for cameras and time for stronger fencing. And I'm positive that together we can make it happen. So I thank you so much.
Entonces la voz de los padres es muy importante, así como ustedes hablaron y notificaron, fueron a reuniones y hablaron y pidieron por otro oficial de seguridad. Ahorita ya tenemos actualmente dos DSOs aquí en la escuela, entonces es muy importante que continuemos eso, y ahora va a ser por el gate, los gates, y también por las cámaras. Entonces pedimos su apoyo, pero el señor González va a mandar una invitación a los padres que quieran ser parte y les guste hablar públicamente, para que sean nominados para poder hablar en una junta del SUSD Board.
All right. It seems like we've addressed all the questions. If by chance we happen to miss one, or you didn't get the answer, clarification that you needed, please feel free to email me, either the assistant principals. Stop by the office anytime and schedule a meeting with us. We're more than happy to have conversations. We realize that we can't do this alone. We need your support. We need your suggestions and ideas to help us address the issues and keep MacArthur, the wonderful school that it is. So, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you, team, for putting in the extra hours. It's going to be a late dinner for us, but my Wingstop order is ready in 16 minutes, so I gotta go. No, I'm just kidding. We ate before, but thank you so much for joining us. Have a good evening, everyone, and please send us an email, stop by, or give us a phone call if you have any other questions. I will send out the Parent Square with a date and time for us to meet. And again, feel free to stop by and ask us any questions. We're here to help. Good night, everyone.